So I get a lot of questions about what kind of grip you should use. Should you use a double overhand where your palms are pronated or palm down essentially? Should I use a mixed grip where one is supinated and one is pronated? Or should I use a hook grip? Should I use straps? Well, pretty invariably I have three answers. Just double overhand until you can't anymore, so that would be this. And then, when you can't hold the bar anymore, you're gonna hook grip. You're only gonna hook grip on the last warm-up and the work set. But you want to double overhand as long as you can, because you still want to train that grip. So basically, you should only hook grip when you have to. But generally, last warm-up and the work sets. The mixed grip, I don't recommend for anyone under any circumstances at all, ever. Because the hook grip is just fine. There's not a problem with the hook grip. Does it hurt a little bit? Sure. But that's okay. The problem is, with the mixed grip, or the alternate grip as some people say, when you take that underhand grip, the tendency will be for this arm, for this elbow, to bend a little bit, and you're going to try to curl the bar. This has two effects. One is that you are going to rotate the bar away from yourself a little bit on one side. It won't be that exaggerated, but I just did that for the sake of the video so you can actually see it. This is not efficient. We want the bar to be moved, level, and centered, and symmetrical. And obviously if you roll one side forward, it's not. The second reason is that there is a very slight chance that you will avulse your biceps tendon. What that means is this muscle has tendon attachments here and here, and this one can rip off of the bone, and that will generally require surgery. You have to screw it back in with titanium screws. Actually, I think it invariably requires surgery. I don't think it can heal on its own, but I'm not sure. This is very bad and can be easily avoided by hook gripping or using straps, which I'll explain in a moment. If you want to see what that looks like, YouTube biceps tendon rupture or biceps tendon avulsion deadlift. You'll see it happens, it doesn't happen often, but it happens often enough that there are a ton of videos on YouTube of people doing it in competitions. And generally what you'll see is they'll set up, they will start pulling, and then you'll see the bulge that is usually like this, and out of nowhere, it will go from here to here in about a fraction of a second. And then they will drop the bar and they will grab their arm. So you don't want this to happen to you, and I don't mean to scare you too much, but I don't think the mixed grip is good for pretty much any reason. I don't see a compelling reason to do it. Now let's say that you really hate the hook grip and you're like, this hurts too much, I can't handle it, but I can't hold the bar, I still need to do something. Well, that is when we're going to incorporate straps. And the only thing these are, I'll show you a bigger one, is a loop of leather that has been stitched together. I have these ones that I modified from this one, but essentially you have an open end. So if you imagine a funnel, there's an open end and a closed end. And your hand is going to go through the closed end. This will take some time to get used to, but you can learn it pretty quickly. So I have both hands through the closed end. I am going to wrap on the underside here, pull this one around, and re-grip. And then with a little bit of finesse, I'm going to do the same thing on the other side with one. And what this does is this counteracts the rotation of the bar in my hand. Open end, closed end. Hand's going to go into the closed end. This is how you would normally grip it. This is going to come down and around on the inside. So you'll notice it's not going through the loop itself. And then I'm just going to grab. It is not doing this. It's a lot harder to hold on to. You will also see some straps that are complete garbage, where essentially you'll have the wrist go in here, you'll wrap this part around, and there will be a second loop here that you will loop that through. So essentially you'll have one loop attaching the bar to a little thing of leather, and you'll have another loop attaching to your wrist. Whereas this is a single loop that attaches on its own. The reason this is superior is because it does not create any sort of pressure on the inside of the wrist, which means it's not going to cut off circulation to your wrist. The other ones, which in my opinion are garbage, are going to restrict and basically tourniquet the wrist. And why would you do that if you're going to buy something anyway? So buy these open loop ones. Rogue makes them. The originals that I bought look like this. But I had to modify them because I don't like the closed stitching. This is more of an Olympic lifting style one, which they slightly set up differently. But you can also make them yourselves if you buy ratchet straps, which is how I made mine, and I only recently had to retire one. I had it for 9 years and it worked just fine. Take a ratchet strap, you clip probably an 18-inch section, you fold them so that there's an open and a closed end, and you stitch together the ends. It's like $5 and a sewing machine. Really easy to make.